Over the past couple of weeks, we have invited you to imagine together as part of our stewardship campaign. Imagine together a sense of awe and a sense of wonder. And so today, I invite you to imagine together once again. Imagine being transported to a forest, maybe, or imagine sitting by a fireside, maybe in a rocking chair, and reading a story to your beloveds, or hearing one of your beloveds read a story to you. Because this morning, that's what I'm going to do. I am going to share a story with you, and it is called The Memory Tree. So I invite you to get comfortable, situate yourself in your pew or in your chair, and listen to where God is speaking to you. Listen to where your ancestors and those you love are speaking to you as well. There once was a fox who lived with all the other animals in the forest. Fox had lived a long and happy life, but now he was tired. Very slowly, Fox made his way to his favorite spot in the clearing, and he looked at his beloved forest one last time, and he laid down. Fox closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and fell asleep forever. Everything around Fox was peaceful and still. Snow began to fall, gently covering him with a soft blanket. Al had watched Fox, his friend, from atop of a tree, and he flew down and he landed next to him. Al was very sad. He had known Fox a long, long time. But Al knew that it was time for his friend to leave. One by one, Fox's friends began coming to the clearing. First squirrel and weasel, then bear, deer, and bird, and finally rabbit, mouse, and others came and they sat around Fox. Fox had been loved by everyone. He had been kind and caring. No one could imagine life in the forest without him. The animals sat in silence for a long time. Al was the first to speak. He smiled warmly and said, "I remember when Fox and I were very young. Every autumn, we would race and see who could catch more falling leaves." The other animals remembered and they smiled. Mouse said softly, "I remember how much Fox loved the sunset. He always sat at this exact spot." And the animals remembered. Many of them had joined Fox as they watched the sun go down. It was a happy memory, and their sad hearts filled with warmth. Bear remembered how Fox had looked after her cubs one spring. Rabbit smiled as she told the story of how Fox had played tag with her in the tall grass. And Squirrel talked about how Fox helped him dig up buried nuts deep in the snow last winter. One by one, the animals remembered their favorite stories about Fox. Fox had touched the lives of all the animals in the forest with his warmth and his kindness and they all smiled, and they all remembered. While the animals were talking, a tiny little orange plant grew out of the ground where Fox was laying. Small and delicate at first and hardly noticeable, the plant grew bigger and stronger and more beautiful with each story that was told. The animals talked about Fox all through the night, and in the morning, the plant had grown into a small tree. The animals saw the tree, and they knew that Fox was still part of them. During the next days and weeks and months, the animals remembered many more stories about Fox, and their heavy hearts began to feel lighter. The more they remembered, the more the tree grew higher and higher and more beautiful until it was the tallest tree in the forest. A tree made of memories and strong with love. Fox's tree was big enough and strong enough to shelter all of the animals. The birds built their nests in the leaves. The owl raised his grand chicks on the branches. Squirrel found a cozy little home in the trunk. And bear and deer and rabbit slept in its shade. The tree gave strength to everyone who had loved Fox. And so Fox lived on in their hearts forever. You know, one of the most sacred gifts in my ministry has been hearing the stories of remembrance in the celebrations of life of a deceased loved one. Some of my favorites are, this isn't something we necessarily want to share in the service, but I've got to tell you this story. And as we laugh and as we cry together, we experience the divine spark and the light of our departed loved ones. Just as the animals' stories made the tree grow stronger and stronger and more beautiful, our light grows brighter and brighter and more beautiful when we remember and when we share the stories of our loved ones. Each memory in this book is like a little candle that is lit, with the light growing brighter and brighter, similar to how our saints illuminate our way, and they also shine through us in the ways that we live and the ways that we love. Like the animals in the forest, we carry their light, we carry their love, and we pass it on in the ways that we live and in the ways that we love. In just a few minutes, we are going to come forward and we are going to light these candles in remembrance of the saints in our lives and in honor and in gratitude for the gift of their life to us. And when we do, and even before we do, I invite you to think about a couple of things. I invite you to think, how does this person or these people that you're lighting a candle for, how do they still live on in your life? How are you carrying their light and sharing it with others? How can you honor their memory and continue their legacy with your own acts of love? and light. Today we gather in a grateful remembrance, trusting that the God of all the saints, the living and the dead, is with us, just as God is with those that we light these candles for. A sacred gift that is with us always.